Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
What is up? Welcome to everyone watching Decades on NGBN.TV, also on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We've got a great episode 3, season 2 show for you. Let me bring out everyone one at a time, but first let me bring out the producer, Sub 60 Ed. Get out of here just so I don't forget who you are or what you're doing.
Wow.
I know.
You need to tell me what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing this time. Wow, I get a first call. Well, this is exciting. We're a full house tonight.
Full house tonight. I want to remind everyone what the show's purpose is. The show's purpose is getting guys and girls together from their 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, and 20s, and just basically talking about things that maybe you wouldn't normally talk about. We're going to get heated sometimes. We're going to agree. We're going to disagree. What up, Guy in Canada? He says, let's go. That was my AC voice. Let me bring out the panelists. We're going to start with youngest and then go to wisest or oldest, as they said, or most long in the tooth, as they say. We're going to start with Charles Wallace Jr. He's in his 20s, lives in Philly. He's not an Eagles fan, though. He has great hair, and he likes AI blondes, but he does have a girlfriend now, I think. Right, Charles?
I got a couple. It depends on the day.
Welcome, my man. Up next, we got our female representative representing her 30s, lives in Canada. Her name is Jenna Ganjay. She's a CrossFit competitor. She deadlifts 315 pounds, and she's a bat murderer in her kitchen. What is up, Jenna Ganjay?
How's it going?
Fantastic. In their 40s, representative, we've got AC, the coolest man, cooler than the other side of your pillow, lives in LA. His full name is Anthony Cobbs. He's a teacher, coach, and host of AC Sports Live, which is going to be going on at 9 p.m. Pacific, pretty much right after us. Welcome, AC.
Thanks for having me, guys. Look forward to it.
Chris Ellenberg says, hey, guys, what's up? Representing our 50s, we've got 2 of them. We're going to start with Jim Scarano. Jim is from Ocean City, New Jersey, an avid outdoorsman, father of 2, and a public educator. What's up, Jim?
Hey, how's everybody out there today? Good to see you.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to a great show tonight. Can't wait.
As we are. Next up in our 50s, we also have Alex Chris. He's originally from the Ukraine, grew up in the USSR, lives in LA. He is a beer connoisseur. We call him Gru. What's up, Gru?
Greetings from California, Winterland.
There you go. All right. And our 60s, we've got one of the top swimmers in the world. Well, at least I think so. I ask him all my swimming questions. Give it up for Bill Geiser. He's an entrepreneur, wearable tech guru, and phenomenal swimmer that's living in Florida. What's up, Geiser?
Greetings from the free state of Florida.
And last, and certainly least, we've got Jay the Judge Gaskels, also representing the 60s. He's an Idaho native, Seahawks fan, makes one of the best old fashions in the Northwest, allegedly, and he's a retired district court judge. What is up, Judge?
Greetings from the primitive area.
All right, here we go, guys. First question out of the gate. Is the NFL rigged? Okay, lately, everyone knows referees have a very, very hard job. Okay, they've got to call games. There's only so many of them out there. They have certain things they need to watch for, and obviously they're doing everything in real time. When you're watching a game, you can replay, do all that. You could be a Monday morning quarterback. But this year in particular, it's been really, really, really bad. Charles Wallace, I'm going to go to you first because I know you get fired up on this. Is the NFL rigged?
If a certain team that wears smelly green is playing, then yes, it is. I just find it rather funny how every call that seems to be missed in every important situation happens to benefit a certain team that plays not too far from my house these days.
Okay, AC, you're the F gas, or you still like what you're seeing? What do you think?
I think it's rigged. I mean, if you want to believe that, I think all sports are entertainment, and you have to remember that part. And a NBA player once said it best. I'm so hyped to play in a game 7. And the veteran says, yeah, but slow your roll, young fella. We have to win by 15 to win by 1, if you know what that means. We're part of the vehicle that runs the sports. The powers that be will make sure there's not a Texas Rangers versus Houston Astros if they can. But at the end of the day, you still have to make kicks from 60 yards out. And you still have to block. You still have to catch. So is it rigged? You can believe that if you want to, but at the same time, it's all entertainment.
It is, and the problem with the entertainment aspect is a lot of money being moved around, and that's where, like you said, the Rangers versus the Texans or whoever was playing in the championship for Major League Baseball. Who was watching that? Like 7 people plus their families.
I watched it.
You did?
And how about them Cowboys?
Yeah, the Cowboys. We're going to talk about the Cowboys a little bit later. Judge, being an avid Seahawks fan, is the NFL rigged?
If it's rigged, they're doing a lousy job of it because there's some very non-competitive games. If it were rigged, I would think they would let the Seahawks win more.
Yeah, and they had to go ahead, Sub 60. You brought yourself on. That means you want to say something.
Of course I do. Of course it's rigged. The Redskins have been out of contention since like 30 plus years. So of course it's rigged. There's no way the team in the nation's capital should suck that bad for that long. Some of us need them to start winning again.
That's what you get for being named the Redskins. That's what you get. That's the curse.
But yeah, we won't. No, it's not a curse. All the Indians wrote letters. They all liked it.
No, they didn't.
But anyway, I just had to add my 2 cents about my Redskins. Yeah, hold on. I want to hear before I leave. Charles Wallace. Yes, what are you going to say?
Are you taking over Sub 60? What the hell are you doing? Get yourself off camera, man.
He raised his hand.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
I got you. I got you.
Maybe rigged is the wrong word. Let's just say that if you watch it through an unbiased eye, the quarterbacks that have the most commercials seem to magically get their team all the best calls every time. And that's not just the Eagles.
Yeah.
There's just certain other quarterbacks that get a lot of calls.
Sub 60. Can you pull up that video that I sent up for the NFL? That was not a penalty.
That's a makeup call from the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl was a penalty.
Yeah, was the Super Bowl a penalty though? I mean, that's a thing.
All right, time of actual occurrence does play a factor. You can't call certain calls for the game. Some things you got to let slide, especially if Andy Reid prefaces, "Hey ref, watch this play. He's going to hold my guy because he's running a whip route." All that stuff plays into it.
Yeah,
man.
but
it's all rigged.
Also, he was beat on the route. You could argue he would have been better off letting him go because then it would have been a touchdown and you would have at least gotten the ball back. He himself said, "I held him. I was just hoping he didn't call it." We can't say, it's a Super Bowl. You got to let us commit a pentalty because there's only 2 minutes left.
It's every single play, man. Every
Go
single
ahead,
play.
Jim. You've been waiting patiently. My bad.
I mean, there's a lot going on here. First of all, AC, I don't really know if I've actually ascertain what your opinion is, whether it's rigged or not. And Ed, last time I checked, I would think Washington, D.C.'s got to be a major market. So I don't know why they would want them to lose as much as they are. But, I mean, there's countless amounts of people involved. I don't know how you could have everybody in on the fix, not to mention, like, kicking a 59-yard field goal in a windy rain. How do you control that kind of thing? The catch – I forget which Super Bowl it was and which Giants receiver it was where he caught it on his head, that certainly played a big part in the outcome of that game. It's too difficult to control whether or not somebody's going to win or lose. I think refs miss calls. I think refs miss calls a lot. That certainly in that video was a missed call. Did it necessarily determine the outcome of the game? Maybe, but you still had physical feats that had to happen that I mean, it's very difficult to say whether or not it's rigged. I don't want to believe as a fan that it's rigged.
I understand what you're saying. Jenna agrees with you. Chalice, I'm going to get to you in a second, but it's also one of those things. I was texting Bill Geiser and Chalice during one of the games, and I'm like, watch, this is going to happen. And then sure as hell, that happens. Or watch, they're going to do it. All of a sudden, the pass interference call or the mythical, they don't call a face mask, or it's one of those things where you can call holding every single play. But if it's one of those where it's just a blatant hold and you don't call it, that's a problem. AC.
Just real quick, there's a thing called home cooking. I say my parents, my family makes fun of me. Home cooking. The refs can try their best to help out. And it's sometimes they just can't because there's too many working parts, like Jim said. I don't think it's rigged, Jim. I'm just kind of being a troll. There's too many working parts in any athletic. I mean, you can try to cheat and the refs can try to cheat, but you still have to hit the ball, shoot the ball, catch the ball, and all that stuff has to happen.
Yeah.
And there's certain games that you can do nothing with. Last night, the Bears versus the Vikings, what did it end up like 4-7?
12.
I mean, that was terrible. Go ahead, Judge. And then I got you, Bill.
If it were rigged, they wouldn't have had to deflate the balls in New England.
Allegedly. Allegedly. Bill Geiser, then Chalice.
I don't think it's rigged, but I think that there is a very serious lack of consistency when it comes to refereeing in this league. And, I mean, it's like this year, every single year, it just doesn't change. It's been for decades. We've had the same issue. And, the answer is get used to it or go to complete automation and, camera playbacks on each and every call, which I don't think
they do that with tennis. They have the little ball animation thing for the line, and you got football where there's still like the judges.
There could be a tech solution.
It doesn't make sense. Charles, we'll end with you, bud.
I said rigged is the wrong word, I guess. It's not like the WWE. They're not giving the referees and the players a script and they're spending the week rehearsing it. But I will say I think the referees are strongly urged to put certain teams and certain players over the top. Like in Sunday's games alone, in overtime of the Eagles game, there was a bang call on an A.J. Brown fumble. I'm going to call it a fumble because he had 2 steps, controlled the ball, and he brought the ball back into his chest, and it got punched out. They call it incomplete. Then in the Sunday night game, the exact same play happens to Keenan Allen on the Chargers, who are just a mediocre franchise, and they're, that one is a fumble. So there's no consistency, and I think the lack of consistency comes from there's a very strong urging from the NFL because it is a business that there are certain teams that we want in the big games and do what you got to do to put them in a position to succeed.
I love that you're giving me an opinion on it, but we're going to go to our next story right after this commercial about where your opinion, you'd be shut down for it. Sub 60, take us out.
You have been watching Decades, a show on the NGBN.TV network.
This is NGBN TV, a network for men and home to top experts, speakers, authors, and more. Streaming TV for men, created by men.
But why?
Why are we a network that inspires,
educates, entertains, celebrates, and supports
men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, simply to save men's lives?
There was an epidemic in our community,
and it's taking men from us.
I'm talking about mental health and suicide.
But we have an answer, and it's streaming, live shows, sports, concerts, and more.
In a real way for men to lock shields.
We can't wait to launch this TV network for you and with you.
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 Join our movement at NGBN.TV, coming January 2024.
Back to Decades. Take it away, Rubio.
Sub 60 Ed, I want to lock shields with you so bad right now.
Go ahead.
I feel like we can do it together. We'll lock shields. We'll be very stoic. We won't even smile the entire time. We'll have no emotion as we lock our shields.
I can't. Yeah, I need to change that out. I need to get rid of that one.
No, you keep it in forever.
Lean into it.
Welcome back to the NGBN.TV network. Jenna, when is NGBN going live? When's that going to happen?
When is it going live?
On Roku, all that good stuff. Mid-January, right?
Yeah, I want to say the 6th, but it's the beginning of January.
Okay, perfect. Just make sure everyone marks that on their calendar. First day in January, keep an eye on NGBN because we're going to be going live on Apple, Roku, Spotify, I think 10 other apps all over the place. So make sure you're going to download the NGBN.TV app. Do me a favor, all those that are watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, make sure you just send someone a message. Send 2 people a message right now. Say, I'm watching this great show called Decades. The host is fantastic. The panelists are beautiful. And I just want you to tune in right now and make a comment for Sub 60 or AC or Bill Geiser or Gru or Jim or the Judge or Jenna or Charles or myself. All right, welcome back to Decades, Episode 3, Season 2. Next topic. Panelists, have you guys been watching what's going on in Ireland? Just nod your heads.
Yes.
If you have. Some of you have, some of you have not. Okay. Well, let's just say it's been pretty much a shit show. About a week and a half ago, an Algerian immigrant stabbed 5 people outside of a school. 3 were students, children. We're talking like sub 10 years old. And the local town people and everyone started protesting, saying, okay, enough's enough. We've let everyone come into our country. Now we need to kind of slow the roll at the border. And the media took it as, this is alt-right. You cannot say this. More immigrants, better, 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 better. You can't say anything wrong about any immigrants, especially Algerians. It's not a good thing. So this starts happening. And then all of a sudden, Conor McGregor, the MMA fighter, or UFC, whatever it is, Charles, you can tell me later, gets up and he blasts the government on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and just says, hey, government, what the hell are we doing? We need some laws here. People are getting stabbed in the streets, and they're making these big protests go on throughout the cities. So immediately the government starts to look at Conor McGregor, and he's under investigation for saying things too mean to people. And like they're literally coming up with laws to silence them. And so Sub 60, can you play film 1 for me with the lady speaking?
When you think about it, all law, all legislation is about the restriction of freedom. That's exactly what we're doing here, is we are restricting freedom, but we're doing it for the common good. You will see throughout our Constitution, yes, you have rights.
Until Sub 60, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until Sub 60 gets it, there's a great video I have.
No, it's actually on. It's running.
It played.
Yeah.
It played.
Oh, nice.
You played.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you guys saw
I
it. I did not see it.
I cut it short because you weren't seeing it. This is
That's
the
fine,
fun
but
of live TV. I'm going to play it again.
Yeah, play it again.
Everybody else can play.
I want you to hear what this lady has to say.
When you think about it, all law, all legislation is about the restriction of freedom. That's exactly what we're doing here, is we are restricting freedom, but we're doing it for the common good. You will see throughout our Constitution, yes, you have rights, but they are restricted for the common good. Everything needs to be balanced. And if your views on other people's identities go to make their lives unsafe, insecure, and cause them such deep discomfort that they cannot live in peace, then I believe that it is our job.
I guess I'm the only one that literally can't see it.
To restrict
Classic
those
Sub 60.
freedoms for the common good.
Yeah,
I saw it all.
how everybody else.
Well, that's fine. You guys
Everybody
thought-
else.
I already know it. I'm the one that gave it to him.
Maybe
Is that the
maybe
most
you're-
asinine thing you've ever heard? Bill Geiser, I had a feeling you'd want to come in hot on this one.
Yeah, I'm coming in pretty hot on this one. I don't know what Ireland's laws are, vis-a-vis the U.S. and freedom of speech and all that, but I heard that a couple of days ago, and I listened to it several times. And what struck me is, for the common good, may be the most commie phrase I've ever heard a government official ever utter. I mean, what she's saying right there is, if you disagree with what we say, you are an enemy of the state. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of her. I'm with
Jenna,
Tom.
go ahead. Then I'm coming to the judge. Jenna, go ahead.
Political cage fight.
It's ridiculous because basically, I don't even know how to explain this properly. So if you disagree or say what you really think and feel, it's not your responsibility how people take what you say. They need to have their own common sense, what they do with it.
You got it exactly, Bill, 100% from Nana Mona. Judge, you were shaking your head. Why?
I think she's exactly right. What she's saying is completely correct, whether it's Ireland or the United States. Laws do abridge your freedoms. You've got freedom of speech, but you cannot yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't go over the speed limit and go 100 miles if you want.
She said your freedoms are being taken away.
That's totally
Quote,
different.
unquote.
though.
That is
Going
not
over the speed limit,
different.
saying how you feel.
It's totally a question of degree. You might disagree with the degree she goes to, but
Yeah.
the facts
Yeah,
that
like
she's
there is
stating
no
are
degree.
correct. The Algerian that is the bad guy in this has been in Ireland for 20 years. I'm not sure how that translates to all these riots where they're burning McDonald's and police cars because there's somebody that's been there 20 years stabbed somebody. They don't even know if it's mental illness or what it is.
They
There's this
do know.
automatic riot.
They do know. They said it was, he had a brain tumor a couple of years ago, so obviously it was affecting him. And the person who stopped him was an immigrant.
Yes, from Brazil.
Yeah.
Who they also have protested against.
Well,
What she's saying is free speech is dangerous. So end free speech.
I'm not
That's
saying
wrong.
free speech is dangerous. I'm saying all laws
In this subject she is. In this context
all laws
she
abridge
is.
your rights. It's a question of degree.
I understand, but real quick, number one, since 2020, you don't have to have a reason to protest. You can just do whatever you want. That seems to be the rule that started with the George Floyd. So there's number one. Number two, you can yell fire in a theater as long as it's on fire. Correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's that. Number two.
Truth is a
and number
defense no matter
three,
what.
Huh?
Truth is a defense no matter what.
Oh, obviously, yeah. But then three, what about who's making the rule of that? Who's this? All of a sudden, Charles says, and anyone that roots for the Eagles is getting arrested. That's the new rule. AC, sorry, you're arrested, buddy, because you're rooting for the Eagles.
Democracy.
And it's just one of those things. He
You
makes this
elect
rule.
those
She
people.
makes this rule that for the common good, and she says for the common good. Charles can say for the common good. We're doing
Those
this.
people are elected by the electorate. That's
I understand it, but if someone comes up with a thing like that, and it's so stupid, can they be eliminated right away? No. Okay, Alex and Jim, I've got you right now. Alex, Drew, go ahead.
Well, I think there is no freedom of speech in Ireland, like there is no First Amendment in Ireland. That's why the government can say or silence whoever they basically want, or they can try to silence whoever they want. In my opinion, although it's not correct.
Jack Geiser said used to be. Jim, go ahead. You've been patient. My bad.
No, you're good. I try to do a little research. This isn't my comfort zone, worldly affairs and politics, but it sounds like the bill was enacted to protect the protected classes, different groups of people that may be subjected to hate crimes and that sort of thing. But really, it sounds like the bigger problem is, they're letting numbers and numbers of immigrants in and not being able to necessarily control all the upheaval that may be associated with, and it's not all just the immigrants. I happen to have a colleague that I teach with who is from Ireland, so he gave me a little insight on what it's like in the inner confines of Dublin. Doesn't sound like a really safe place to be, and that's both Irish people that are native to Ireland as well as immigrants and everything else. Police don't carry guns there, I don't think, right?
No. But then, Jim, let me cut you off because the second part of that law is they want to arrest you for having, this is no joke, offensive memes on your phone.
Yeah.
So, literally, if you have a meme that they don't agree with, like, oh, this is bad, and they don't agree with it, you can literally be arrested for that. AC, what you got a smirk on your face. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's just a bunch of hogwash, man. Freedom of speech has never been freedom of speech, and you know how we've lived with it here in the States. I can only imagine in Ireland. So it's laughable, man. Freedom is not a synonym for morality. Let's stop, graying the lines and moving the goalpost to wherever someone can feel comfortable about how they feel and how they want to speak. So it's all just a bunch of media, propaganda to me.
So what do you think about those laws of it's better for what's better for the good or whatever she said?
Who determines what's good?
That's my thought.
Exactly.
I mean, that's Judge. What do you think about that, though? You're just saying, since they've been elected, they have the ultimate right.
If it's an elected system of government, the theory is the populace elects the people that agree with their views to govern according to what they desire to happen. If that's not true, then the majority of people should vote against them.
Chalice?
I think in the video, the woman speaking, she conflates a lot of things. She says things like, you have a right to safety, which you should in a civilized society have a right to be safe. But then she also says people can't make you feel insecure. And those are two totally different things, where I don't have a right to go and kill someone, but I should have a right, if I don't agree with you, to vocalize that I don't agree with you or your way of life. And if that makes you feel insecure, that shouldn't be my problem. And I shouldn't be subjected to prison for voicing my opinion.
It's a great comment, Jack Geiser. So the government decides where the voice of the people ends and hate speech begins?
What did Conor McGregor say? What did Conor McGregor say? I didn't get that part.
He basically came out in a barrage of tweets or posts, whatever you want to call them now, and just basically was calling out the government saying, what are we doing here? Like, we've got to close the border up, and why are there no laws, and why can't I say anything? And, you know, just basically saying, let's do something, because it wasn't covered in the mainstream media over there at all, and nothing at all. It was just saying, like, these protests are from alt-right conservatives about this Algerian, like they're trying to get these Algerians out. And it was like, that's what he was saying. And then immediately he gets investigated. And it was just like, well, what's happening here, guys? Like, you can't even voice an opinion against certain people. And now you can't even talk about the government. This is, wow. Bill, you had your hand up.
Well, this reminds me of what happened when angry parents showed up at school board meetings about pornography being used to teach your kids, and loudly objected to it, and were classified by our government as domestic terrorists. That's another example, almost a perfect example of where you're disagreeing. You got a constitutional right to disagree. I don't care who's in office. They don't have the right to change the Constitution because they disagree with what you're saying. And that's what that lady is doing, and that's what those people, what our Justice Department did by calling those parents domestic terrorists. It's wrong. It needs to stop.
Jenna, go ahead.
I think so. What I heard is that within the last year, they had a whole bunch of immigrants, like hundreds of thousands within the last year, come to Ireland. And they just heard that it was an immigrant, and I think the people just jumped to conclusions, and that's where it all went haywire. And then, of course, like, it was a Friday night and so on and so forth. They just didn't know all the information, and that's just when it went all nuts. Like, I saw the videos of the riots and stuff, and it was crazy.
Yeah, it's like they got fed up. Gru.
Yeah.
Well, I think, in my opinion, as far as whole immigration from Algeria and other countries like Syria and stuff, I think Ireland is slightly late to the party. I think Germany and Sweden, they had a lot of those kind of immigrants over the years prior to this year, and then they basically had an uptick of crime in Sweden. For example, I was just watching a program on YouTube prior to the show, and then they decided to reduce that immigration or even deport certain people who did commit a crime, or, you know, etc. So I think Ireland eventually will follow suit.
Okay, let's go to the judge, and then we're going to take it to a commercial sub 60, and then we're going to go to an island in the stream.
Well, I think the lady's speech was saying that just because an Algerian did this, you don't have the right to go out and harass and make all the Algerians that happen to be in Ireland in danger. It's nothing more than what our civil rights did, saying you can't be prejudiced against a certain group of people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the Civil Rights Act here.
Okay. Sub 60, take us home.
You have been watching Decades, a show on the NGBN.TV network.
This tip is brought to you by Alex on Tech. We all know what end of life means in real life. Not many people are aware of what end of life means in terms of technology. That's what the website called endoflife.date is all about. End of life and support information is often hard to track, or it's very badly presented. Endoflife.date documents end of life dates and support life cycles for various products. Endoflife.date aggregates data from various sources and presents it in an understandable and short manner.
The Decades. Take it away, Rubio.
So that was Alex Tech on Tech. The end of life, was that for tech products, or is that like produce? Because I live next to the judge, and I've never seen him throw anything away. He says expiration dates are fake.
Well, it's for any product, tech products, software, phones, computers, you know. So you know when you're gonna get your support, or when it's gonna get expired, you know. So you won't get any more support, and you're thinking, okay, maybe I should get a new phone, you know, because my old phone is basically, you know, a paperweight at this point. It's not safe to use, or operating system.
But you can continue eating 6-month-old yogurt and milk. Just do what you got to do.
You can. Yes,
never
you
throw
can.
away cake. Sub 60 Ed, last Thursday night, Thanksgiving, there was quite a spectacle, and it blew up Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, during the Cowboys game. And several people, I think even in our Decades chat, had a little fun with it. Play that clip, Sub 60 Film 3.
Well, I tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, yawn and stretch and try to come to life. I jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping, out on the streets the traffic starts jumping, with folks like me on the job, from 9 to 5, everybody working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living, barely guessing by. It's all taking and no giving, they just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it.
You go Dolly on X, formerly known as Twitter. I think the number one question asked within that hour is, how old is Dolly Parton? It turns out she's 77. Is that too much or not enough of a 77-year-old? AC, I'll go to you first. What are the most awkward questions you have?
Why do you come to me first, man? The thought of it is very cringy, but she worked it. I mean, she's been in the show business forever. She's been that person for a long time, so she's okay with the negative and positive criticism. So if you got to flaunt it, but at the same time, I'll pass.
The thought of it now is not cringy anymore.
No.
Yeah, she's 77 years old. She looked good. I mean,
77 is the new 37.
Yeah.
Do it. She does look good. I mean,
Yeah.
she looks better than I do, and I'm in my 30s.
Chalice, she could be AI for you. What are your thoughts?
I get old.
I don't think so.
I'm 25. That's a
52
few
years.
That's a few decades above my maximum age range. So I'll leave it to you guys. It didn't do anything for me, but who am I to judge?
Judge Bill, what are your thoughts, Judge? Yes or no?
I say more power to her. She admits to all the work she's had done and all the various features. And she's, like I said, been the same person throughout her life. So I say go for it.
Yep.
Wait,
she's great. Dolly is an American icon.
Yeah.
And
it was
pulled
for
off.
your Cowboys.
I thought she did a good job.
Yep. I thought so as well. Jim?
Yeah, I'd agree with Bill. I think that was strategic on the NFL and the network. She's not gonna appear at the Super Bowl halftime show, that's for sure. But Thanksgiving, it kind of fit. I didn't realize she was a Cowboys fan. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. But my recommendation to anybody, but certainly older people, is keep moving, keep doing what you love to do. Don't stop, because you know what happens when you stop. So I give her a lot of credit.
She was hands down better than that rapper at the Detroit game too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
sure.
that's no brainer. All right, so let's switch topics. We don't even need to go for a commercial for this one. Recently, all of the January 6th videos have been released. For 3 years, it took them to release all the videos. This is one of the most videoed, recorded places in the world, more than Vegas. And they have all these things that they were still questioning about with Ray Epps, all those. They're still looking for the pipe bomber, which I don't even understand that one, how you can even say you're still looking for that one, considering they can do GPS on everyone. So what's the issue? Sub 60, can you play the first one of the grandma?
I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you.
Okay, once again, I'm assuming you guys saw it because I couldn't, but I can see your guys' eyes moving. Thanks, Sub 60, for that. I'll just work on my toes more. What are your thoughts on videos like that coming out? Judge?
I think all the videos should come out from everywhere. I think they've been coming out for ever since it happened. So I think, yeah, all of the views should come out. But it also scares me a little bit with AI that you can't really believe what you see anymore in videos.
I would agree, but what are your thoughts on why it took 3.5 years for certain videos that showed basically it was just a stroll in the park for a lot of these people? They look like a guided tour through most of these videos. There's one, I could not find it, I was looking for it, where one of the people going in, one of the MAGA people allegedly, takes off a mask, gets handcuffs undone, and then goes to the guards and gives them knuckles, and then he just walks out. Like that is very suspicious. I mean, why is it possible that it took 3.5 years? Sub 60, what do you want to say?
No, I was waiting for you to bring this topic up because I got something to say, because I knew where you were going, because I know you well. My whole point is my point to what you're going to say, because the one video that we haven't shown yet with them getting released, the point is that's a whole nother issue. Maybe they're insiders. Maybe the fact of the matter, there was some kind of more than a demonstration, insurrection, whatever you want to call it. Maybe an inside job. Maybe these guys didn't want to get involved because they didn't want to get hurt. I think there's more things going. There's potentially more things going on, and I think there are potentially other issues outside of the fact that
I would agree.
The grandma got pushed. She did the old FAFO. She shouldn't have been there.
She shouldn't have been at the Capitol?
Doing what she was part of a mob that was getting ready to move on the Capitol. Yes.
But remember, the mob had gates open for them.
It doesn't matter. Then that's whoever opened the gates.
Yeah, that's my point, though. Like, if I'm at the Capitol and a guard opens the gate for me, I'm thinking I can go in. That's what I would think.
No, come on, Mr. Rubio.
If you were at the Capitol and you saw guards opening gates and doors, would you think I should leave or I can come through? These are the guards.
It would depend on the kind of people I was with and what the mentality was at the time.
Why would the guards open the door?
What? Because they don't want to get killed.
Hey, if we can't rig NFL games, we can't pull an insurrection off with 100,000 people in Washington.
No, I mean there could be my whole point is there could be insiders. That's
why aren't the pro-Hamas Palestinians who took over New York Senator Hildebrandt's office in the gulag right now? Isn't that an insurrection?
Yes,
it is. Is this supposed to be equal justice under the law? Isn't that what we believe in? Raise your hand if you believe it, Ed.
You can believe it.
Okay, let's lock those bastards up.
Go ahead.
3 years. Hide the key. Swallow the key.
Maybe in 3 years they will be.
More videos.
It'll be too late by
These guys are locked up the next week.
Countries.
But you've had 4 people that have been arrested for just strolling through. I mean, these weren't even like the big ones, like the dude with like the moose horns or whatever. These people, 4 people have killed themselves over this because they were so, distraught basically over being thrown in jail for taking a stroll through the Capitol. Charles, you've been waiting patiently. Then I'm going to go to AC.
I think we're very loosely using the word insurrection there. In this country, you do have a right to protest, and people were there and they were protesting. And the videos have come out, the doors were open, they were let in. Whether or not they were going to make a big scary move on the Capitol, we will never know because they were let in and told that they could walk through. So the fact of the matter that we're treating it like they stormed the Capitol on horseback is ridiculous.
Yeah, without one gun either. Jim, go ahead. Oh, hold on. I had AC going first, then Jim. AC?
Oh, I'm just always going to ask the question, why would they release video? And you know why. The agenda setting, the spin cycle is on, and it's all about, votes at this point. Democrats want to show the insurrection. Republicans want to show it was a peaceful tour. So you're going to get your divide. You're going to get what you want. You're going to get people scared. You're going to get people angry, whatever you want to do. But the footage is going to be used any way they can to agenda set and get people to pick a side.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jim. Jack Geiser says, what does insurrection mean?
So,
go ahead, Jim.
I mean, from my understanding, there's over 40,000 hours of video because there's, hundreds of cameras in all kinds of different places. So, what you showed me, yes, could be spun as one side of it, but a lot of the video I saw looked to me more like a riot. I mean, you had people breaking in windows, they just kept pushing the line of police back and back until they were forcing their way in. So, I don't know why anybody would want to be a police officer in today's day and age, let alone in that situation. I can't say I wouldn't have done an Olay and let them in too, because where do you put your own life and your own safety ahead of, what was happening there. I don't know. I could see where AC makes a good point, where it's all perspective. You can spin it however way you want, and certainly in a political world, you're going to have it spun each direction. So,
Jenna, you seem to be nodding along. Tell us what you think, Jenna, and then we're going to go to that second video, Sub 60.
I just, from the grandma point of view, I would not put myself in that situation. Knowing even here in Calgary, every Sunday, or at the mall, when I was at the mall this past Saturday, there's Palestinians everywhere, and I was gone because there's cops constantly everywhere, and they're like escorting them, and I'm like, I don't want to be in any of this. So the people that were there, it seemed like there was like they were there for a reason, and it happened. You know, like they did what they went there to do.
Okay, Sub 60, show us that second video, please. That goes for about another minute.
Yeah, it does. That's why you had mentioned just to cut it short. So
yeah, so that goes about another minute. I mean, there's literally a door right there where they could have just said, "Okay, guys, okay." I mean, I've taken a Capitol tour, and that's exactly what it looked like. And yes, there was people holding flags. They weren't holding El Trumpo flags because he wasn't president at that time, but there were people holding flags, kind of walking through, and that's exactly what it looks like. You're just going through. The commissioner of Capitol Police said was told to stand down. Yeah, I remember hearing that as well, Jack. Jack Geiser just said on that. So this is where it's so wild. Of course, there'd be trouble there, so don't go. Not Amona. That's Jenna Ganje's mom. She agrees. Insurrection. It's kind of hard to have an insurrection when no one brought a gun. And this, let's be honest, if this was the MAGA crowd, I'm pretty sure they're all have guns at homes. Mostly. Charles, go ahead.
Rubio.
Go ahead, Charles.
That was one of the most explicitly violent videos I've ever seen. Thank God we got all those thugs off the streets. That's all I got on. I'm glad I'll sleep better tonight after knowing that those people are not on the streets wreaking havoc anymore like they were in that video.
Yeah, it was like 0 Dark 30. It was
go ahead, Judge.
Team 6 operation right there.
Well, it's just like AC and Jim said. You've cherry picked out a few seconds of video of hundreds of thousands of hours because you have
100%.
a opinion that you want to back. And that's just what happens with everyone. They look only at what backs their opinion. They don't look at anything on the other side. And that's why this big division.
I would agree with you 1,000%. The reason why I showed those videos and not the other videos is because you've seen those other videos of them storming the Capitol for 3 years. And I'm saying that these videos have just come out. You notice that these videos, grandma getting pushed down by guard, you haven't seen that for 3.5 years. And then all of a sudden this week, they finally released them because we got a new Speaker of the House. He pushes them out and everyone's like, whoa, they're strolling through. Grandma's getting knocked down.
Apparently you don't follow the Republicans because they have been releasing these videos saying it was not an insurrection.
I follow everyone.
There are thousands on both sides that haven't been released.
That's my question, though. Why? Why? Jim, go ahead.
Well, a lot of the videos I watched were body cam videos, and they were way more violent than what you saw right there. And I would like to know that video you chose at the end. What's the time context? Like, where is that in terms of the whole event? Is that the very end where they had already stormed and they're just kind of breezing through at the end? Like, where is that in the big picture?
I bet $2 at the beginning because that guy was talking trash as he walked through.
Okay, Charles,
he couldn't have talked trash at the end.
Yeah,
no. By that time, everybody was already ruffled up. That guy was real peaceful.
Right,
Charles, go ahead.
There's always an agenda to be pushed. So I think that is the point. I don't want to speak for Rubio, but I think that's the point that Rubio is looking to make, is that there's an agenda that was pushed for so long, because you see those videos that I haven't seen until recently. And when this all first happened on January 6th, it was, and there are people, you can still find the videos, you can still find the tweets of people calling it the second 9/11. People said that
Yeah.
about this, and people ran with it.
Pelosi.
Summer of 2020, when my city was burning to the ground, it was a mostly peaceful protest.
Yeah.
People walking through the Capitol the second 9/11.
The agenda, Charles is right. There is an agenda, one agenda. This is to get rid of Trump, make sure he never came back again. And they keep throwing one thing after another after him, trying to keep him from running again. That's what this January 6th thing is all about. It's not about justice for or against any of those people. It's about him inciting a riot. That's what they're going for.
Judge, tell them
This
the
is-
truth there.
This is way bigger than the NFL conspiracy, apparently, because now you've got the entire judicial system where there has been convictions in various courts. Apparently, they're part of this because it was just a peaceful process. So none of those people committed any seditious acts. I refuse to believe that. I think, again, it's an agenda. I agree, but it's an agenda that's tailored to whatever your view is, just like the clips tonight.
Okay.
But how can you say that when during the summer of peace, during the George Floyd stuff, there were federal buildings burned and not a single person held accountable? It depended on the politics, not the laws. They were selectively enforced, and they continue to be selectively enforced. And
You hear
that's
that-
just the way.
you hear that
That's
every day in
50%
court.
of America believes that, Judge. You
Yeah,
may
most-
not,
most
but
of them are-
50% of America does.
I hear that from every defendant I have.
So you only go against Republicans. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
but
that looks like it.
It's rigged, Your Honor. The prosecutor and police rigged it against me.
Rubio, who had to release the videos? Speaker of the House?
Yeah, the Speaker of the House finally.
Yeah,
the new one.
Yeah, the new one, because Kevin McCarthy said he was going to do it. He didn't do it. Then he got exited. He got out of there. But you know what? This is a good spot to end for
That's
this.
Mike Johnson, right?
We're going to end on this one. This was a great night with everyone on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and of course, NGBN.TV. Sub 68, who's the winner tonight?
Well, before I announce the winner, I got to set the anticipation. I want to thank we've had 11 people throughout the show hang with us tonight, and I want to thank
Oh, very
them.
nice.
'Cause that's the most we've had since we've been live, our third episode. So, thank you, 11, for whoever around. Thank you, Nana, for commenting as well. Shout out. But the winner of this one is, I'm giving it to the judge. He was sitting in the shed in Lewiston, Idaho, where it was like 30 below zero, probably had no shoes on and stuff like that. And he still brought it strong right at the end, him and Bill. So I got to give it to the, oh, look.
Okay.
You know what? We really didn't need to see that.
Yeah.
Did not need to see that.
Not as good as Dolly Parton, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But
you can edit.
As Rubio said, it was a great show, guys. You all did an awesome job.
We'll be back on in 2 weeks. Gloria Scarano says the judge won. Gloria, great stuff. Thank you, Jack, guys. Thank you for everyone. We'll be back on in 2 weeks. Make sure you start spreading the word. Cheers to everybody. Have conversations that you normally wouldn't have and learn to agree to disagree, everybody. And don't forget, in what time is it? About an hour and a half. We've got AC Sports Live on YouTube, Facebook, the NGBN.TV. He will, if you're East Coast, it's even better because then his voice just soothes you to sleep.
Soothes you right to sleep. There you go. All right,
guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for watching Decades on the NGBN.TV network. Be sure to spread the word, and don't forget to subscribe, like, or follow on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Good job, guys.